Hello students, hope you all are fine. So I have already uploaded my video on photosynthesis. I hope you all have watched that video and gone through it. In that video we have studied about the process of photosynthesis, structure of chloroplast, structure of stomata, and the importance of photosynthesis and what are the factors affecting the photosynthesis. So as I told you that photosynthesis takes place in two different phases. Okay, the first is the light dependent reaction, or you can call it as light reaction. Why light reaction? Because it takes place in the presence of light. And another one is the dark reaction, that will takes place in the absence of the light. Okay, so let's study this light dependent reaction. What is this actually? So here in this topic we will study how photosynthesis is actually taking place. All right, so the first is the light absorption. What is the first point here is the light absorption. As the chlorophyll molecules absorbs the light and the electrons get excited and this reaction takes place where? In the thylakoid. In the thylakoid. Okay, and you have seen in the previous video where is the chlorophyll? In the walls of the thylakoid. Okay, these are the thylakoid and chlorophyll is present in the walls of the thylakoid. Okay, so it is very important topic, so please pay attention. So as a result, what happens when the chlorophyll molecules are absorbing the light, the electrons gets excited. Okay, and then what happens? What is the energy of the light? That is the photons. What is getting excited? The electrons are getting excited through the photons. Okay, because they absorbs the photons, and this is, or you can call it as the activation of the chlorophyll. Here the chlorophyll gets activated. All right, and as a result what happens? We will see now. Then the electron transport chain, excited electrons move through the chains releasing the energy. This is the chain which I am going to explain you now. So as a result what happens? It produces ATP and NADP. So these are two very important points. Please note down. Just make a small notes or the short notes, pointers sort of, where you can understand whenever you are studying alone. All right, so as a result of the light reaction, these two are the key products, ATP and NADPH. Okay, these are the key products. Now I will explain you how electron transport chain takes place. So when this reaction is taking place in the thylakoid membrane with the chloroplast, they require the energy, okay, to produce. So how this energy takes place and how does this travel? Suppose this is the pigments of the chlorophyll. Okay, I'm just drawing a rough thing to make you understand. All right, so what happens here? These pigments are arranged in these are the pigments. Where is the pigment present? Inside the chlorophyll, inside the chloroplast, these chlorophylls. Okay, so these pigments are arranged in the clusters. These clusters are known as photosystem. These clusters are known as photosystem. So this is photosystem 2, and then here this photosystem 1. So what happens? These electrons, when receive the energy, they get excited and they move towards this electron transport chain. So here what happens? They absorb the energy and they split into two. The molecule, this hydrogen molecule is splitted into two. Split means it breaks into two parts, releasing the hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, so this process, when the it is happening in the presence of the light, and this is taking place in the grana of the chloroplast. Okay, and this process is defined as the photolysis. Okay, this process of splitting into this, when molecules is split into hydrogen and oxygen, it is known as the photolysis. So photo means light and lysis means breaking. Splitting means breaking. Now when it has break, now how these molecules and these will be used in the further process. So let's study that. So this energy or the electrons is used to pump the hydrogen ions across the thylakoid membrane. All right, so what happens here? Just let me clear the screen. So I hope you understood this. Here what happens, the hydrogen ions are picked up. One second. This hydrogen ions are picked up by the NADP, which is nicotinamide adenodinucleotide phosphate. Okay, these are picked up by the NADP and it forms the NADPH. All right, it forms NADPH, and here the oxygen compound is given out. So what happens, the electrons are now used in these electrons, from where these electrons now move towards this. Okay, here from here the electrons are moving. Okay, here the electrons are moving in the grana part. So these electrons now are used to convert the ADP by adding a phosphate ion to form the, by adding one phosphate ion, it will turn into ATP, which is phosphorylation. Okay, so as a result, what happens, these two are the key products, okay, for the another phase, that is the light independent reaction, which is a biosynthetic phase also, you can say. So these are the two key products. Okay, so I will repeat once again, this ATP and NADPH, here they are accepted by the, this is formed by NADP plus this hydrogen ion. So when we will add this, it will form NADPH, and here when phosphate ion is added, it will form ATP. All right, and these two are the key products which is needed to make sugar or a carbohydrate in the next phase. What is the next phase? The next phase is the light dependent reaction. Okay, so when here one phosphate ion is added, it is known as photophosphorylation, because here the addition of one phosphate is added here. All right, so this process is termed as photophosphorylation. And when the hydrogen molecule H2O, when water molecule is broken into two components, that is known as photolysis. So here are these two terms, please note down these two terms. Now let's move to the light independent reaction. Why this is light independent reaction? Because it do not requires the light, and it is also known as Kelvin's cycle. Now the two products which we have as a result of the light reaction, we have got ATP and NADPH will be used here, will act as a fuel to this. So, and in this process, what is the process purpose of using this here? To convert the carbon dioxide, please note down whatever you are feeling that's important, to convert this carbon dioxide into carbohydrate. It serves this process. Okay, to convert carbon dioxide from the atmosphere to carbohydrates, or you can call sugar, which the plant needs to power its cellular activities. Now in light dependent reaction took place in where? Grana. Now this dark reaction will take place in the stroma of the chloroplast. I hope you all remember the stroma part and the grana part when we have studied the structure of the chloroplast. Okay, then if you remember the where is the stroma part and what is grana part, I hope the thylakoid, the stack of the thylakoid, suppose this is the stack of the thylakoid, the stack, the pile is known as the grana part, and the white colorless substance, this white colorless substance, this is the stroma part. Okay, so if there is a difference between will come, then you can write down that light reaction takes place in the grana part, and the light independent reaction, that is the dark reaction, takes place in the stroma part. So here the reaction, the use of ATP and NADPH are produced by the, which is produced by the light reactions, are used to convert the carbon dioxide to carbohydrate. Now how it will happen, just let's see what happens first. The carbon dioxide which is absorbed from the atmosphere, it is combined with five carbon sugar molecule, which is RUBP. It is combined, you can see here 1 2 3 4 5. So what, and this is unstable, this is 6 carbon molecule is unstable, so that is why it splits into 2, forming the 3 carbon molecule. It forms, it breaks into, and how does it breaks? It will break with the help of, you can note down, an enzyme. It will break with the help of enzymes which is called Rubisco. It is an enzyme. Please note down these things, these are very important. That an enzyme which is Rubisco helps to break this 5 carbon sugar molecules, which is called, this is called RUBP. This is called RUBP. So here as a result, when it will break, when it will split, what happens? It will add one phosphate here, it will break into, and it will form 2, it was broken into 2, so 2 3 PG. Okay, that is 2, it has broken into 2, it will convert into 3 phosphoglycerate. All right, it will convert into phosphoglycerate. So I hope till here it is clear to you. This is the first step, this is the first step of the Kelvin cycle, that is carbon fixation. Now the next is the reduction. The reduction, you can see here, you can, if you want, and you can take the screenshot also. The 3 carbon molecules are reduced using ATP and NADPH to form the glucose. Alright, so here in this process of converting the carbon dioxide into carbohydrates, it is the reduction phase. Why it is the reduction phase? Because we are adding, in the reduction phase we are adding electrons and energy. Again I will say, please note down how this reduction process, you must have studied in the chemistry also. All right, oxidation and reduction. So here the reduction process takes place. Why? Because we are adding the electron and the energy to the what? To carbon dioxide molecule, and ATP and NADPH which is provided, and they need because they need these electrons for the reduction of the carbon dioxide process. So what happens? The electrons are added from NADPH, the electrons. So it will be something like this. When the electrons are added to NADPH after a series of a reaction, okay, there is series of reaction takes place. After a series of reaction, what happened? It will be reduced to 3Pg, and further it will reduced to G3P. This is a, what is this? This is a carbohydrate. Here you can see when the electrons are added to NADPH, it will reduced. You can write here reduced. Just note down these pointers. And it will reduce to 3Pg, and 3Pg will be reduced again to G3P. All right, G3P. If you want, then I will write it again. NADPH is added. When electrons are added, it will reduce to 3Pg. All right, what is 3Pg? The phosphoglycerate molecule, and again it will reduce to G3P. This is a carbohydrate. All right, so after this, what will happen? ADP, when this has already reduced to this, and G3P, it is a carbohydrate. This is a carbohydrate. Please note down, this is a carbohydrate. So what happened? ADP and NAD plus, ADP plus NAD, this is D, plus is reduced, and they will return back to the thylakoid. Because again it will, why it will return to the thylakoid? Because again it will convert to ATP and NADPH for the Kelvin cycle to takes place, and it will again convert into this. ADP will convert into ATP by adding the phosphate molecule, as we have studied, and this NAD plus will be returned, will be again converted to NADPH. So what will happen? What will happen now? One G3P molecule here, what this we have got here, please note down, this is very important, last point. What will happen? This one molecule of G3P molecule will be now act as a building block. This is the building block of the carbohydrate. This is the, as we have studied that the cell is the building block. All right, cell, then they combine to form tissues, then organs, then organ system. In the same way here, G3P is the building block for what? For glucose. This is the building block for glucose. So now this G3P molecule will move towards the third phase, which is the regeneration. And here some of the 3 carbon molecules are reduced to again RUP, following the cycle to continue. All right, so you can make it somewhat like this. Just give me 1 second, children. In a short, if you have understood this, I hope that I have tried to explain you just what will happen as a first is, we have studied that first is the carbon fixation, then the reduction. First carbon fixation, then reduction, and then regeneration. Regeneration means it will again, these 3 molecules, this G3P molecule, which is the building block for glucose, will used again to regenerate RUBP, and it will again break. So this cycle goes on, 1 second, this cycle goes on like this. So first phase carbon dioxide fixation. Second, there is the reduction, and the third phase is the regeneration of RUBP. What is RUBP? Now you will ask, ma'am, what is RUBP? It is just a carbon molecule. It is a carbon compound. This RUBP is a carbon. This RUBP is carbon compound. All right. So like this, when this G3P molecule, which is a building block for glucose, has formed, so this, in this way, to form the glucose, this molecule cycle has to turn 6 times. Okay, it will turn into 6 times to form a one molecule of glucose. So in the other words, you can say that the Kelvin cycle indirectly or directly depends upon the light reaction, because we are getting ATP and NADPH from there, which is used here for the of conversions. So what we have studied here in this topic, that how light is absorbed in light reaction, which is the activation of chlorophyll and the splitting of water, that is photolysis. Okay, and then the energy is transferred, that we have studied through the electron transport chain system. The electrons get excited and they pass through the series of molecules. Okay, that photosystem 2 to photosystem 1. All right, and then what happens, the ADP is converted into ATP, NADP is converted into, by adding one hydrogen molecule, it converts into NADPH. All right, which is an electron carrier. Okay, just note down, if I forgot to tell you, that NADPH is an electron carrier. And then what happens, the chemical energy, the energy from the excited electron is used to create the ATP molecules, and in this way the carbon dioxide is converted into glucose, which is used as a food, and the plants store this food for the other parts of the plants. So I hope that you have understood this video. Do share your comments, and if you want me to send the notes of this, my handwritten notes, I have also got my handwritten notes for this. So if you want me to send you those notes, just comment me. So stay tuned with this. Okay, so bye bye, God bless you all, see you again.